Well, hey guys, and welcome back to Ames's Corner. It's Sunday. It's quiet, echoey, and dark. Pretty early, 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. I like getting stuff done in the morning. But yeah, I'm here today to work on. See if you can see it. This is that green Saab 9000 Aero that I hooked my buddy up with. This is the one where I had saved the cowling because it was all rotted out, and we redid that, and he got a pretty good deal on this car. He loves the car, really does. He has had a few small issues with it. The probably about 2 months ago, he broke this, or the SERP belt broke, and he took care of that himself. He was able to figure that out. But then one day he was going through a drive-through, and it just stalled out and wouldn't restart. Now, anybody that knows these Saab 9000s, there's only 3 things that can go wrong that'll do that to you. Either your fuel pump gives out, your crank position sensor gives out, and your ignition module gives out. What had happened is his ignition module went out, but when I went to look at this car, I didn't have my own 9000. So I just brought I was driving the Sonnet, and I just happened to have that car that day. So I get there, and I open the hood and I look, and him and I guess his boss had just taken and unplugged everything. I don't even know. I don't even know why they would go in there. They unplugged all sorts of stuff. They broke the transmission speed sensor that tells you speedometer, how fast you're going. They broke that. The ignition module right here, this was the problem. This is actually the one off of my car, and it fired right up. But yeah, they went in and took the intake off, and they, instead of undoing that molded hose, they just cut it. I don't know. Yeah. And then they tried, with like, oh, the engine's blown, the turbo's gone, and there's a little bit of oil here, and I don't even know. So yeah, I get there, and the car's all stripped apart. There's, vacuum lines. Even still, I drove it here. I just, put enough to make it run, and then I figured I'd just take the car from him for a little bit and take care of it. So yeah, there's some stuff unplugged. Looks like this. This is one of the throttle traction control cars, and it looks like I think this is probably supposed to go over. Yeah, right there. That's probably where that goes. Yeah, and there's some other stuff unplugged. Like I said, the speedo drive way down in there, they broke that off. So the car drives like crap. You give it a little bit of gas, and it just doesn't want to go. So looks like I got some leaks. I could hear some boost leaks. So I think I'm gonna set up the smoke tester on this. So anyway, I'm gonna get this in, look around it a little bit, and I'll see you in a second. All right. Well, I've got this thing all up in here. Got pretty much everything routed right and plugged in right. Like I had said before, the big connector. Let me walk around, see if we can find it. The big connector on the throttle body was disconnected for some reason. That with those wires, see the green wires right there. Yeah, I can't point and flash. But yeah, that was unplugged. That other connector, there's a connector. Let's see if we can see it. That one right there, that big white one, kind of flashing on right now. That was unplugged. I don't know why they would have done all of that, and then. See if we can see it from this angle. All the vacuum lines were kind of unplugged at kind of the hard spots to find them. I still haven't plugged that in. I figure I got the smoke machine. I'll explain that in a second, and I'll explain why I didn't cap that. Just want to see if we can see the broken right there. Right there. That's the speedometer drive on these cars on the tranny. See that round circle? Right in the middle of the screen, right there. washed out. Yeah, for some reason that got broken off. I don't know why. I don't know why. It looks like these screws. See that screw right there? Looks like that's half taken out for the fuel rail. And it looks like, yeah, that one is too. I think not even finger tight. So they were about to pull the fuel rail. I'm glad I drove that, not knowing that was loose. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so they took it all apart. When all the, for no reason. When it was just this thing here was all that was wrong with it. Like I explained before, the 3 problems that happened with these cars, and that's the module off of my own 9000, which is a 97, which works in this, which is a 95. But interestingly enough, I was told that the later models that use this one, which is basically the same unit, just black, from like a 95, I think it was, will work in this car. The trouble with this one is it would set a code for combustion detection 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a common thing that happens. This coil will set that code, but this car doesn't use the programming that code would set, so this won't set a code in these older cars, but will still run the car just as fine as a brand new one. The difference being is you can get these for free, Get out of here, Wood. You can get these for free, or next to free. I still have to give the guy, he wants $50 for it, and that's just, I'm going to pass that right on to the person who owns this car. I'm doing this kind of as a freebie. I'm not charging him for this. I kind of feel bad. He's kind of got 2 kids, and he's not working as much as he should be, especially now that he can't get around. So I got this thing set up because, like I said, there was a lot of vacuum lines unplugged. So I just want to make sure everything's gonna go back together right. I'm not gonna be able to get that speedo drive today. I tried, but these things can be kind of tough to find off-the-shelf parts for. But then the junkyard's closed, and my Saab guy across the lot, he's not here today because it's Sunday. That's one of the problems. That's why we don't open on Sunday, just because it can be tough to get parts. So yeah, this is the leak tamer. Basically, this is, if you guys remember back in the day when you were little kids, at least I remember, the model train sets that would go around the track you'd get for Christmas or your birthday or whatever. Well, you remember some of them would have a little place you'd put a couple drops of whatever, castor oil or whatever oil you got on hand. You put a couple drops in the little train, and it makes little puffs of smoke as it goes down the track. Well, this is basically a giant version of that. Now, I've got it set up here on just a piece of spare vacuum line. Come on, had a good grip. So smoke will come out of this. We power it up and we'll see. We'll watch this thing chooch. Normally you got to press that button, but that button's broken. It takes a second for it to heat up. So I know this will show up on camera. Just give it a half a second. There we go. And then there you go. You got your smoke show without spinning your tires. Now, that's a lot. That's a lot of smoke. Now, normally I would do a boost leak test, but a boost leak test is good to find like a single leak or a small leak that's going to come out under pressure. When you've got a lot of things disconnected and stuff you don't know is disconnected, this is kind of the go-to tool. Yeah. So let me. This is all powered up. Let me see if we can hook this up with one hand. Bear with me. I might have to put you down for a second. Nope. How do you like those mitts, huh? Your hands can do anything. So, I see. Well, that didn't take long at all. Looks like we got some smoke coming back here. Something down there. There's a couple of vacuum tees and the tee to the boost gauge. Now, I'm not surprised with that because the boost gauge didn't work. So that's probably the boost gauge wire, kind of a common problem. I think we got a little bit of smoke coming out of this little valve. And this is on top of the throttle body, so I'll just Let's see if I can do this again. Oh, to have 3 hands. There we go. Ooh. Alright, hold on. Why don't you guys hold that? You got that? Thank you. Thanks, guys. Awesome. We did it. We'll just tuck that up under where it goes. A little clip for it. Alright, so let's see what this, see what we got over here for a leak. Walk around the machine. Got my light. Now that's a lot of smoke. Look at that. It's coming out of everywhere. So, where's it coming from? I can't even see. There's just so much of it. Let me see if we can prop this flashlight somewhere. Excuse me for a second. Let me dig into here. Where is it? It smells like the old Lionel train sets, I tell you. It smells like them. Oh, here we go. Here it is. And there it is. That would be the boost gauge vacuum line. That's pretty toasty. But that's the fact. That's the leak. That's something. Let me see if we can pinch that off and see if we stop the smoke. Oh, I don't see any more smoke. And down there now, I got looks like we got a little bit coming out around the blow-off valve. That probably needs to be tightened. And then what you do is, I probably should have showed that before, is you cap the turbo off with something like that. So basically it's kind of like doing the boost leak test, but this is just lower pressures. It helps you find bigger leaks. So it looks like I just got to tighten down that hose clamp, swap this ignition module with that one over there, and fix this little thing here. Well, alright guys, I'm gonna let some smoke out. And there it comes. Alright guys, I'm gonna fix that line. I'm gonna tighten that clamp and swap that that module, and hopefully that module will run it. So your fingers crossed that that'll work. I didn't know you could do that, which is gonna be kind of cool. So yeah, let me get this thing packaged up. Let me get these issues repaired, and we'll see what we can see. So see you in a second. Alright, I got this all buttoned up. Got the turbo all closed up. I got this other module in there, the one with the combustion detection. Wanted to make sure it didn't say there was anything wrong with it. Even though technically it's faulty in a way that doesn't affect this car. Got that. I couldn't get the boost gauge going because the line going from here to the dash is all cracked and rotten. I'm not really charging him for this repair. He can save up some money and then do little details like that. But I've got it all ready to go. Let's take a quick look around and see if this thing starts. Like I said, this is the one where this cowl was all rotted out really bad, and it looks like it's been a few months. It's been a few months. We've had some really good storms, and he's got no water entry, and it looks like it's holding pretty well, you know, for how bad that was. Yeah, if you remember how rusty it all up in here, I had to patch and fill, and there was actually a couple different techniques to get this thing sealed up and a windshield in there, but there it is, holding up nice. Yeah, remember those rear quarters were pretty bad. I took care of those. She was a rusty girl, but it's a reliable one. As long as you don't fiddle with it and mess with it if you don't know what you're doing. This could have been if he had just had the car towed here with that AAA that towed it to his house. Oh, I didn't even mention that. This car broke down about 3/4 of a mile from here. Not even a mile from here is where this broke down in the Burger King drive-through. A mile at most. And he towed it all the way 3 towns away to his house instead of towing it up here to me. And if he had just done that, I would have had it out there. Probably the first thing I would have tried, because my 9000 would have been here, is I would have just done that, and he would have been on the road probably the next day. You know, if it happened when I was here, probably would have been, I could have gotten him out the same day. You know, but now he's been without this car for the better part of a month. I think it's been a month. I mean, he didn't really get a hold of me when he should have to do it, you know. But and then him and his boss or buddy or whoever just started taking stuff apart. When it's still got the broken speedometer drive I can't get today, so he's gonna have to take it like it is because I want my car back. My 9000 sitting in his driveway with no ignition cassette on it. You know. So anyway, let's see if this starts. That's kind of important if that later module is actually going to work with it. Well, how about that? Yeah. Turbo spools up better. I don't hear that hiss and boost leak. We got the ABS and TCFS lights on. That's because that sensor's unplugged, and I'm going to guess that's why the check engine light's gone. But like I said, this is stuff he can worry about later. Yeah, this is stuff he can save up his money, and you know, maybe his next oil change he can come in and I'll have that speed sensor already waiting for him. So anyway, guys, just a little another way to find leaks in your intake in a car. That smoke tester with blocking that off, that could just as well have been the throttle body and just check an intake if it wasn't turbo. You know, those smoke machines are really neat things. Really neat things. And every time I smell them, they bring me back to the old toy train sets. So I'm going to shut this off because I don't have the doors open. Alright, so I gotta shoot over to Groveland, is where it is, where my car is. I gotta put my ignition module. I think I got it on the bench over here. I gotta put my ignition module back in my 9000. I also had to butcher some of the hose clamps out of my car because of that line was cut. So I gotta put the APC system back together on it too. So anyway, maybe if I get there and I feel up to it, I'll do a little video of getting my car back on the road in his driveway. But if I don't, until next time, guys, keep it out of the cabbage.